Hi, Luca. You know Jared? Riley, can I have some help, please?
I'm just about to go on lunch break.
Please, it is important. Thank you. Can you ask Luca whether Jared had any issues at St. Jude's?
For example?
Trouble with girlfriends.
Is this about Chanel? She wasn't at St. Jude's.
Yeah, it is. Can you tell me what happened?
Do you know what? This seems like teenage gossip.
Please, it is important.
Then go through the proper channels. Let Luca have a lunch break.
Luca, can you please tell me what happened between Jared and Chanel? Chanel was upset. And then Jared came here. Okay. Luca, can you come with me? Please, now. Bring stuff. Miss Chambers.
Amy?
Luca, can you tell Val about Jared and Chanel?
Miss Spratt, I think Riley should... Luca, it's okay. It's okay. Can you wait here? Just wait. What are you doing?
But you said get evidence. Luca clearly knows something about Jared in a past relationship at his old school. Just talk to him.
That's not what I meant. You shouldn't have been talking to Luca without a CSW. Amy, this is inappropriate. You are too close to this. I will deal with it. Please reassure Luca.
I'm sorry, Luca. It's okay. Val said, do you know Chanel's social media? The social media. Chanel. Social media. Yeah. Hello?
Amy Spratt?
This is Chanel Collins. You messaged me.
Yeah, hi Chanel. Thank you so much for getting back to me. I'm sort of in a lesson right now, but can I call you back? Or we could meet after school.
I'm here now.
What?
Your message said you taught at Waterloo Road. I'm outside.
Chanel.
Amy!
I'm really sorry, but you can't be here.
You said Jared had a new girlfriend, that you were worried.
Yeah, that's true, but there are procedures we need to follow.
You said it was important. I came all this way.
Yeah, I know, I'm so sorry, but let me walk you to the end of the road and we'll figure out a time to meet and we'll talk properly. So, Chanel?
This your girlfriend? She's in sixth form, yeah?
No, Chanel, please.
She needs to know.
Like it's Kat's problem I'm cancelling my birthday party.
What the?
Jared Jones.
Chanel, please, this is only going to make things worse.
You his new girlfriend?
You leave her out of this.
Who are you?
Why didn't you ask him?
My stalker, she's mental. Doesn't want me with anyone else.
Too right. She's on to you, you know. I'm gonna tell her everything. How you're a controlling, lying narcissist who kicks off when anyone stands up to him.
Yeah, you're gonna tell her everything.
Wendy, I need help. I'm in the sixth form. There's an intruder.
Well, I'm not an intruder.
Now, Chanel, please, you need to leave.
But I haven't even told you anything yet. I haven't even spoken to...
I know, it's okay. Come on. Come on. It's all right.
No, he's not getting away with this again.
Chanel, no!
Chanel!